Ohio ODRC prison story time. This is a repost for new viewers. I'm stitching this clip. I'm gonna show highlights of my 3 night terrors that were caught on cameras here on my security camera, in my house. We got 11 of them and 1 of them is in the bedroom. But now it'll give you context as to what it's like having a night terror, let alone in prison. And as you hear me say in here, I'm almost 1,000% positive that's 3rd Street, I-Dorm, Lancaster, and that is literally our rack on the left right there. But I wanted people to let me know in the comments what they think. It looks like it. After these clips, it's gonna return back to the original video. So some of the stuff I say in this video, you gotta remember that's posted like a year ago. I didn't even rewatch it. I have no fucking clue what was said, but just, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Thank you to anybody who stays to the end and engages with this video.
Hey, what happened?
Oh.
What happened? Hold on, wait. What's happening right now?
Nothing.
Hold on, I'm freaking out right now. Hold on. Hey. Babe, sit up, hurry up. I think we're having a heart attack. I'm not fucking with you.
No,
Sit
you're
up.
not.
Babe, if you watch the remake of this or the replay, this is not good.
Ow.
Yeah, I don't know how long I've been doing this or what the fuck is going on, but this is not good. I don't feel this.
Ow.
What the fuck could cause
Patrick,
me to
it's
do
just
this?
an eating. It's your heart beating.
What am I doing in the bed to be doing that?
Dreaming. What the fuck?
What?
What are you doing?
What? Hey.
Ow. What? What's that?
I feel like I'm just fucking dreaming and I'm... Listen.
Why?
Long story short, I was telling you in the dream. Hey, baby, wake up. Hey, please wake up. Look, there's something wrong with you.
Behind me is Lancaster Correctional. I've been there. I'm pretty sure that's I-Dorm. It looks like I-Dorm, which here in Ohio, it's a rumor that I-Dorm is the biggest open dorm in the state because they got 5 streets. Most, open dorms of level 2s got 3 streets, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Street with a back wall and a bunch of common areas. For example, this is another open dorm at Lancaster, but you can see how small it looks compared. Maybe somebody who was there could let me know. I only did time in M-Dorm, the basement, which was right in row, which was a rowdy little block down there. I need to do some more story times about that. And then I-Dorm is where I got moved to. I also heard a lot of shit about F2, and I did do a fight story time about F2 when we went out of place and we went up there. Me, Johnny West V, Jenkins, and Drew. All 4 of us went up there to fight some dudes to make sure nothing happened. Our homie and their homie got into it and we regulated, and that was it. And we walked back out and never got caught. Now this story time is about the night I had a night terror. So I had a bunkie. He was pretty cool, you know. He was a store man and shit, and he would have company over, but they was real respectful. I would lay there and sleep. They'd be smoking, and sometimes I wouldn't even hear them because they just sit there and smoke and be quiet. Now, we lived in this cube. It was 2 white dudes, 2 black dudes living in this cube. We were crisscrossed. So I was on the top bunk, and my bunkie on the bottom was a black dude. And then next to me on the bottom was a white dude, and his bunkie was a black dude, okay? But we all got along. It was pretty cool. You know, a nice little chill spot we had going on. Well, I didn't smoke to them, but they knew that, but they was respectful about it, like I said. One night, I'm laying there asleep, and I jump up and have a night terror. Now, I'm dropping this because I just dropped the other video, a few videos over from this, which was what they call a compilation of 3 videos from my home security camera showing me having night terrors here at home. Well, now I'm putting you into a perspective of imagine this happening in jail. This is also how I got my bottom rack restriction. Now, I know I talked about this like a year ago, but I got new people following us since then. Maybe they haven't heard this yet. So what ended up happening was I jump up and I got my blanket like wrapped around me, like my face. I would always wrap it around my face and just keep enough of my mouth open out so I could, you know, breathe, but still have the light covered up from the blanket. And a lot of times I was real paranoid. I would have a lock on a net bag or a hawk up under my pillow or in my pants because shit does happen, you know what I'm saying? And if it does, you want to be ready. But I was probably a little extra paranoid than a lot of people because I do got bipolar 2 and PTSD. Well, what ends up happening, I jump up to my feet, right? And I'm standing on the top rack. And I I jump off with my blanket on me like a cape. And I land. Now, look, since I'm showing you an actual spot, a picture of this spot, imagine I'm on the top, right? And I leap to right here in the street. This very well could be 3rd Street or 4th Street of I-Dorm for all I know. I can't tell though. I jump. I land on the concrete. I turn around. My bunkie and his homie are sitting there staring at me and I'm all wide-eyed. They explained it to me as I just looked like nobody was home. Like I'm standing there but I'm not paying attention. What I was seeing was things looking different. Everything was kind of melting back into reality. And they said, dude, you just jumped right over top of my head, over his box, and landed on the street. And you can see how far it is. I probably leaped like 5-6 feet. I don't know how, but my body and my mind, brain, motor functions knew to land. Just like a cat lands on his feet, I guess. So, you know, I ended up laying down. Nobody was clowning or bidding or nothing like I thought they would. They were actually checking on me. Like, people were like, damn, bro, you crazy for real, like fucking around. But they came up and was like, man, you all right? But when I fell back asleep, and I told them, you know, I just have night terrors sometimes. Like, I'll jump up freaking out. If you've seen those other videos I just dropped, it's the same concept, except for I'm in there around a bunch of people, which is way worse. So I used to have that conversation with all my bunkies. Like, hey, it might not ever happen, or it might happen every, you know, couple times a week. I don't know. And it was always cool with it. But we just pretty much said, well, just cross that bridge when we get there. But I always let them know immediately. So when I fell back asleep, he was telling his homie, hey, I'm going to help him get a bottom rack restriction. And me and him lived together for a while. We never had no issues. It wasn't nothing like it might have been that he was trying to get me out of there. I don't know. I don't see why he would, because it wasn't nothing like that going on that was ever hindering what he had going on. He was truly trying to help me, I think. He went in the captain's office with me and was like, hey, dude needs a bottom rack restriction because he be jumping off the rack in the middle of the night. And he was like, you could run the camera footage back. He said, matter of fact, if he wanted to, he could sue you motherfuckers. And then sure enough, it worked. They had me sign a paper, bottom rack restriction. From that point, my bad about the sounds in the background. I'm printing out logos for t-shirt merchandise. I got a t-shirt press. I'm doing all that right now. But yeah, so pretty much it came to the point where no matter where I moved after this, they had to give me a bottom rack restriction. No ifs, ands, or buts. If somebody else was in there with a medical bottom rack restriction, they couldn't put me in there. So every single time that I would go to a new room, they would come in and be like, hey, he got a bottom rack restriction. Now, sometimes people ain't going to respect that and you just got to fight them for it. Luckily, I never had that happen because people would just be like, okay, cool, you got it. One time, I didn't care, and I let dude keep it, and it was an elderly dude. They literally was going to put me on the bottom rack and put this 65-year-old man on the top rack because medical was telling him I had to. But I wasn't going to do that. I let bro have his rack, you know what I'm saying? So that was a completely different thing. I did have to punch on one of my bunkies that was kind of an older dude. He was an older black dude, but I didn't want to have to do it. But he was crazy, and I've already went into that story time, and I've already read the conduct report and shit. But he was on the bottom rack, I was on the top rack, and he was fucking crazy. And we only lived together for like 3 days, and I don't know what he thought it was. Like, he just thought shit was sweet, but I had to hop down and punch on him. And I already read the ticket. Miss Phillips at Trumbull Walls, and her partner had to separate us and shit. It's whatever. Hey, motherfuckers will try you, though. I don't know what it wasn't that he was just trying me. He was fucking crazy for real, where he would talk to himself, and he thought I switched his earbuds, which I didn't. My earbuds work fine, his earbuds work fine. But because his had a little dot on them, and they're identical, he swore he wrote a little dot on them, and that I switched them out. And maybe somehow they got mixed up, but I didn't switch them out. There would be no point. They were the same earbuds. They worked the same. Neither pair was brand new. They were both like worn and torn, but they both worked on both sides. You would gain nothing from doing that. He was just fucking crazy, and he swore that he wrote a little mark on there, which mine didn't have a little mark on there either, by the way. He's just claiming that I somehow switched his earbuds. And then he got to getting loud and all this other shit. So I hopped down off the rack and punched him in the shit, because he threatened me. He said something about, young buck, you don't know this and this, and just got to, I don't know what he thought was going on, but it was right during count time. So, in a way, I think he crashed out. I don't know, but I hopped down and punched on him. We got to fighting. We actually had 2 rounds. They caught us red-handed, though, which is what he wanted. That's why he crashed out right during count time. Because when they were doing count, we're on our 2nd round of fighting, and when they came to the door, she pretty much seen us in the fighting stance, and that's how the ticket reads, that they caught us winded, out of breath, both with our fists up as if we were just fighting, and we had marks on our knuckles and on our face and shit. So it is what it is. I've already went into that. I understand that a lot of these stories y'all might have already heard, but I do got this that I'm gonna utilize this right now. I've said it before, but I'm doing it right now. I gotta put some of these stories together so I can bring y'all some new content. I'm trying to be a better content creator, blend my everyday life with my social media life. Thank you guys for all the engagement, especially on FB and YT, because I just made the other video complaining about how TT is just not showing me that much love no more. Not only the people, but the algorithm. Now, some people are, yeah, I'm not talking about everybody, but between the algorithm and some of my regulars falling back, my TT just feels like it's just going off the rails. I really don't even care about it no more, to be honest. And I got I'm only like 40 or 60 people away from hitting 18K. And I never thought I'd say that, but I just don't give a fuck about it. But I post all these videos to the same platforms. Stay safe, stay free, stay blessed.